But not an easy call, is it?
No, it's not an easy call, for sure.
OK. Yeah, so look, Dermot, what did you make of the comparison to the Saliba challenge on João Pedro? That was from back in January. We're trying to compare it with something from this season and couldn't find it. But look, we've compared it to foot on foot, but is the contact on Barry not more substantial than it was on Pedro?
I think the Pedro one's a different challenge. Aero challenge is a different challenge altogether. As I said, I went through all the footage on Saturday night looking, because that's what we do, prepping. Couldn't find one. So it seems that any challenge like that, unless it's a clear kick, is never given. It's just not given.
Yeah, I mean, again, like Jamie said there, the principle's still the same. The situation is different because it was head on head. But again, I feel like it should be a penalty. It should be, because if the ball, I mean, because we're talking about scenarios now, right? If you put that ball down on the floor and I toe the ball away or kick the ball and then someone comes through and kicks me, that would be given as a penalty. So even though the ball's up high, I still think the principle should still, be given as a penalty.
Yeah, OK. Well, thankfully, we can play it now. We're going to have another attempt at this. A few technical gremlins here, but we'll finally manage to get, yes, I think, there we go. So, here we go. Nice and close up for you there, Jay, as well.
No, exactly. I mean, you can see here, I mean, Barry's touched the ball and he's kicked the bottom with his foot. I think that's clear to see. And he's gone down, so for me, that should be a penalty. That's very clear. But like Dermot said, I don't know, I'm not privy to this, maybe Dermot is, but they haven't given any penalties for these situations during the season. So is it a case of they're not giving these kind of decisions anymore? I'm not sure, but it seems like they're being consistent if they're not, but that's something they need to say. Otherwise, we're always going to question it.
Well, they're saying it every week by not giving them, aren't they? We're on week 16 now, they haven't given one. So they're telling you every week, a challenge like that is not going to be punished unless it's of significant impact.
No, but I mean, in terms of that, like when we had these scenarios in the beginning of the season with like Gyokeres and Sanchez and these kind of situations where they've come out and actually said, right, we're not going to give, if there's any contact on the ball now, we're not going to give penalties going forward. They've said that. So maybe this is an example of something they should be saying as well.
They went in pre-season, went into the teams. I mean,
they do, yeah.
The broadcasters had broadcasters meetings. You would have been welcome to come. Everybody was invited.
Maybe not now. Jay might not be welcome to.
Exactly. Yeah.
That was actually from week 2. I didn't like to mention that. But
Look. We heard from Jamie Redknapp contrasting and comparing, didn't he, on Pedro? So look, we are going to have a look at it. What is the difference here then, Dermot, when we do have a look at it from last season? We had to go back to last season to find a comparison.
And that's what I'm saying, you did have to go back to last season. I just think it's a different challenge. Just think it's a different challenge altogether. That with Saliba this week, he's gone for the ball.
But it's a different challenge.
It is.
The principle's still the same, though. Yes. The fact that he's taken the ball first, then he's been hit. It's the same thing with the Everton one. Barry's taken the ball, then he's been hit. So the principle's still the same. And that's why I'm saying it should be given as a penalty. It is a penalty. And again, I have to stress the fact that I don't know what the referees, and I don't know if the rules have been modified or, what they've said at the beginning of the season, because I wasn't there. But ultimately, I think that should be a penalty. Yeah.
Look, we've been so desperate to show you this over and over. So here we go. We're going to show you it. This was the other incident in the game, of course. It came seconds before Arsenal were actually awarded a penalty for that blatant Jake O'Brien handball. And it involves O'Brien on Viktor Gyokeres at the back post. Look, was it the correct decision not to award a penalty, Dermot?
I think if Gyokeres stands up, he heads the ball in the net, to be honest. You look here. O'Brien touches him. Is there enough contact for him to go down? Not sure. What I would say is the referee gives a penalty. He also gives a red card.
Yeah.
But Gyokeres could have made it very easy by heading the ball in the net.
It's a tough one for me because I've been in them situations before. I think one thing I will go back to is, and I've been saying this, I've been consistent on goalkeepers, for example. I feel like goalkeepers need to be strong in situations where you're feeling you have a little bit of contact. There's going to be contact in the area. I genuinely feel like in that particular scenario, Gyokeres has to be stronger. He can't just go down because he feels a little bit. It's not like he's been shoved. He's been shoved, then yes, but then like Dermot said, it would be a red card. But he hasn't been shoved. He should have just stayed on his feet and he could have headed it in. But again, I want to see players be a bit strong in them kind of scenarios.
Yeah.
A dream for Zubimendi and Rice. Arsenal hold talks to sign £47 million midfielder. Following a disappointing transfer window in summer 2024, Arsenal went big this year. Andrea Berta and Co. oversaw the signing of 8 first-team players, ranging from Cristhian Mosquera and Piero Hincapie at the back to Viktor Gyokeres and Noni Madueke up top. However, when it comes to the best pickup the North Londoners made in the summer, it's hard to look past Martin Zubimendi, who, alongside Declan Rice, has played a massive part in making the Gunners so hard to play against. Yet, as incredible as the Spaniard has been, reports suggest Arsenal are looking to add even more quality to the middle of the park in the shape of a youngster that Zubimendi and Rice would surely love to have in the team. Arsenal target dream signing for Rice and Zubimendi. Heading into the January window and beyond, most Arsenal fans might be hoping the club sign another attacker or even defender. After all, Gyokeres hasn't quite settled yet, and the backline has been ravaged by injury, leading to the likes of Jurriën Timber and William Saliba being overplayed. However, with the likes of Gabriel Magalhaes and Kai Havertz not too far from returning, it could be argued that reinforcing the midfield is the most pressing concern, an argument the club seem to agree with. At least that is according to a recent report from Caught Offside, which claims Arsenal are interested in Ayoub Bouadi. In fact, the report goes further, revealing that the Gunners have already made first contact with the youngster's camp and are laying the groundwork for a summer move. However, the report has also revealed that several other teams are keen on the player, like Liverpool, Real Madrid, Manchester United, and Chelsea. More worrying, the Blues could reportedly make an offer of around €50 million in January, which is about £47 million. This could therefore prove to be a costly and complicated transfer to get over the line, but given Bouadi's ability and potential, Arsenal should fight for it, especially as it's one Rice and Zubimendi would appreciate. Why Rice and Zubimendi would love Arsenal to sign Bouadi, either in January or the summer, is that he could cover for them. Sure, on the surface it would seem odd for players to be happy about increased competition for game time, but given that the Frenchman is just 18 years old, he wouldn't really be that. Instead, he'd be someone who could come off the bench for one of them during a game, start a cup match, or maybe even step in when the level of opposition is that little bit lower. This would then allow the two internationals more time to recover, and in turn let them spend more time at their very best and be less likely to suffer a fatigue-related injury. With that said, is the LOSC Lille gem even good enough to cover for the pair? Fortunately, the answer is a clear yes, as in addition to being comfortable in central and defensive midfield, the 10 of 10 talent, as dubbed by scout Jacek Kulig, also has some really impressive underlying numbers to his name. For example, FB ranks him in the top 1% of midfielders in League One for blocks, the top 2% for long pass completion, the top 8% for successful take-ons, the top 16% for touches in the opposition's penalty area, and more, all per 90. Finally, on top of helping out his senior teammates, the incredible prospect would simply be an excellent signing for the club, as he really does look like someone who could develop into a world beater one day. Ultimately, it won't be an easy deal to get over the line, but for the club's future and Rice and Zubimendi, Arsenal should do what they can to sign Bouadi.